Hebrews say they always black. We say we talk to God, we won't never say he talking back. Lex Luger flexing from these reverends like they torture racks.
So I was just thinking, like, we call him God the Father. Like, Jesus never told us who was his father, all right? But we know in John 4:24, it says that God is spirit. Jesus says that God is a spirit. Now, how can God be Jesus's father if God was a spirit? Jesus was a man. God is a spirit. Now we look at 1 John chapter 3, verse 9. It says that God's children cannot sin because God's seed is in them. So when we look up this word seed in the Greek, it's literally talking about God's sperm. It's literally saying that God, who is a spirit in John 4:24, God is spirit. How can God be a father with children if he is a spirit? This word seed is literally the seed that produces offspring, that produces children and literal children and descendants, like according to the flesh. So how can God's sperm be in physical people? That's literally what the Bible's saying. So just ask yourself, man, it's crazy. Like, how can God be a father when he is a spirit? How can God have literal children? How can God have sperm? But when you think about the virgin birth, if God is a spirit, if the Holy Spirit came upon Mary, because this is the same seed or the same sperm. I mean, this is the same word, right? So if this word seed is sperm, it's literally sperm that God can produce being a spirit, and Mary was pregnant through the Holy Spirit with Jesus, she conceived of the Holy Spirit. Then, I mean, it don't really make sense, but I can see how they can make it make sense. If God is a spirit that can produce sperm, if his seed is in his children, then the Holy Spirit can conceive of Mary and impregnate Mary and have literal children. Now, shouldn't those children come out as regular human beings? I would say no. They would be something like the Nephilim. Like, they wouldn't just be no regular human beings, right? They would be just as great, just as mighty as the Nephilim, as the giants. So it's something to think about. If God is a father, how can God, who is a spirit? I mean, if God is a spirit, how can he be a father? How can a spirit have his seed, his sperm, literally living inside of his people? How can his seed abide in his people if God is a spirit and not a man that can produce literal sperm? How can God, who is a spirit, produce sperm, produce physical descendants, produce literal children, and be a father? Think about it.
Contradiction. 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 It ain't no contradiction, you just need to speak.